What's going on, guys? I'm going to be sharing 3 tips with you to help you improve in your street photography. Let's jump right into it. Street photography is all about capturing unexpected and candid moments in everyday life. I treat street photography as a way to capture life's unexpected moments and candid interactions with the environment. With street photography, you can find a lot of beauty in the mundane, in the ordinary, everyday aspects of life. Just walking to work, purchasing a coffee, reading a book on the train, capturing a moment in time in a subject's life. One of the reasons why I love street photography is exactly that reason. There often is beauty in the mundane and the everyday tasks. With these street photography tips, you'll be able to take your photography to the next level. Tip number 1, being prepared. There is a fine line between being prepared and being over-prepared. Being over-prepared would be an example of carrying too much gear. When you're coming and you're doing street photography, you should really condense your pack to just one camera body and one lens that you're comfortable using and you know how to use. If you haven't learned the characteristics of a specific lens, it's okay, bring it with you and spend some time with it to get accustomed with it. But if you're a seasoned street photographer, or if you're a seasoned photographer, you already know the lens to have in mind. That can be a zoom lens or it can be a prime lens. When I first got started with street photography, I was carrying one camera body and 4 or 5 lenses. And after about a month, 2 months, I quickly learned that that was way too much gear. You really don't want to be spending a lot of time taking a lens off of your camera body and putting another one on. You could potentially be missing out on opportunities because your mind is going to be constantly thinking of, man, in this shot I could have really used a 35, or I probably should switch to a 24-70. What you really want to do is limit yourself to just one lens and keep that restriction throughout the entire street photography walk. I personally used to use 2 lenses. That was the 50mm 1.8, the nifty 50, and also the 85mm 1.2. After gaining a little bit more experience and understanding what it is that I wanted to capture in my street photography, I purchased the 28-70 F2.0 RF from Canon, and that is my single lens that I walk out, and it's probably the lens that lives on my R5 body the most. That's this lens right here, the 28-70. This lens is incredibly bright and incredibly sharp. It's a very large lens, but it eliminates me having to have multiple lenses with me. So now I carry this one on my R5 and I walk around doing my street photography with that lens. A fixed focal length is absolutely awesome for street photography. It's a whole nother level of challenge. With a fixed focal length, you'll have to be zooming in and out with your feet, moving closer to a subject, moving far away, and finding different compositions. My 28-70 is bright enough that I'm able to get incredibly detailed shots. I no longer have to have that worry of, man, I wish I had this at a wide angle, or I wish that I had a 70mm focal length. It's essentially an all-in-one lens. Additionally, traveling light means that you only carry one camera body, minimal amount of lenses, 1 at the most 2 lenses. You also have 2 extra batteries in addition to the one that's in the camera body. You also would like to have any kind of maybe 1 or 2 ND filters maximum. My Canon camera bodies have 2 SD card slots, 1 regular SD and then a CF Express card. In addition to that, I carry 1 more emergency SD card. Now listen, if you are filling up 2 256 gigabyte memory cards, you're probably overshooting and you should probably consider adjusting your shooting mode. There is no way that you're filling up that many usable images, which is another thing that you don't necessarily want to be selective, but you don't want to keep pressing that shutter button the entire time. You're not getting any usable shots and you're just killing memory space there. So keep that in mind. Another reason why you want to be traveling light is because you don't want to have an extremely heavy pack. My pack is probably around 10 pounds without the camera in it, maybe a little bit less, and it allows me to be as mobile as possible. When I'm doing street photography out in the city, I'm high, I'm getting low, I'm sitting on the ground trying to find an angle, I'm kneeling, I'm bending over, I'm reaching, so having a heavy pack is just cumbersome and it'll get in your way very, very quickly. This is why you want to limit to just one camera lens and one camera body if you can. Traveling light allows me to be more agile, be more mobile, and travel further distances. It's not uncommon for me when I'm doing my street photography to log about 6 to 10 miles of just pure walking around the entire city. That 6 to 10 miles could probably take about 4 hours to just be walking around, observing, sitting for long periods of time. Another real quick pro tip is to bring water with you. I always carry a canteen with me full of water just to keep me on the go, and it prevents me from stopping and looking for water, looking to get hydrated somewhere. Just keeps you moving. Tip number 2, pay attention to lights and shadows. One of my favorite ways to look at street photography is I keep an open eye out for the way that lights and shadow interact with the environment. So you can probably see an example here of what I was shooting. I'll post an image right here. But I like to use light coming in through windows or light splitting in between buildings and shining through buildings to create shapes on walls to frame subjects in. Using lights and shadows in your images and in your composition allows your image to look a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more complex. Adjust your camera's exposure and your camera's aperture to take advantage of these lights and these shadows. Tip number 3. Adding depth to your images. Now, when it comes to adding depth in your images, I like to think of it in 3 stages or 3 aspects of an image. That's the foreground, the midground, and the background. If you can find a composition that allows you to do this, to add something right in front of the lens, something where your subject should be, and then the foreground, or any combination of these 3, make a really, really interesting photo in my opinion. Now, your main subject or your point of interest can be on any one of these 3 planes, either in the foreground, they could be in the midground, and they can also be in the background. It adds a lot of depth and it makes your photo seem a lot more 3-dimensional, and I like to use it in a way to add almost as like size comparison. So for example, if you have a small subject surrounded by a massive background or a massive foreground, it gives you a bit of an illusion to make something seem a lot smaller than what it actually is, evoking a certain emotion. Look around your surroundings to find a foreground. Here I have an example of an image that I took of a bridge that itself is a good image and you could probably compose it really well, but I framed it in such a way that it adds just another interesting layer. What would make this specific shot right here, I thought even more interesting, would be if I used the foreground, the bridge would be the background, and if I had a boat or something sailing, or maybe a bird on top of the surface of the water, that would have really made an even better shot. Or I don't know, you know, sometimes you just have to work with what you're given. Just to summarize the 3 tips, make sure to be prepared and travel light is tip number 1. Number 2 is look for lights and shadows in your scene. Number 3, when you're composing a shot, you always want to try to look for layers and try to look for depth in a scene. Hey guys, just wanted to give a quick update of what I've been up to since the last week. This past week was a regular work week. Nothing really exciting happened at work. just working through some inventory challenges at my work. Just another opportunity to get a little bit better at my job. In terms of the book that I'm reading, I read a book that's called The Making of a Manager by Julie Zhao. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that last name. The book was excellent. If you guys don't know, I work as a manufacturing manager full-time. That's my 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday. And I'm always looking on ways to improve my management skills, and I'm always looking for ways to get better at my job. So I'm constantly reading books like this just to learn about new perspectives and learn about new management techniques, especially when it's relating to managing people and personnel. There's always a lot to learn out there. This book I would highly recommend for anybody at any level of their management career. I believe that Julie Zhao was one of the, I don't want to say that she was the founder, but she was one of the first employees at Facebook. She has a lot of stories about how Facebook got started and all of the project that she worked on as a project manager within Facebook. A lot of really interesting stuff and a lot of relatable scenarios that I myself go through almost on a daily basis. Not all of them, of course, but I've gone through in my management career. So if you're any kind of manager, any level of manager, doesn't matter what industry that you work in, I would recommend this book to any manager in any point of their career. Besides that, that book right there that I recommend, just the other things that I did was, starting to get warmer here. It started to get a little bit warmer here in Philadelphia, so I'm getting really excited about that. And I'm starting to plan out, or thinking in my mind, I am thinking about the kinds of shoots that I want to do during the springtime, because it's going to be cherry blossom season here pretty soon, and some of my favorite photos that I've ever taken have been during cherry blossom, when the cherry blossoms are coming out here in the city. So I'm already planning out and thinking about some street photography ideas. By the way, if you guys made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you very much. But I'd like to know from you, leave the comments down below. Are you guys interested in learning about street photography in addition to the product photography videos that I'm making? Or would you like me to go into more technical stuff like editing, or continue working on this creativepreneurship thing that I'm thinking is kind of working? So I guess that question is all over the place. What I'm asking is, do you like this street photography content, and should I make more of it? Or should I go back to more product photography tutorials, or learning about, maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll do 3 videos on monetizing and product photography. And then maybe I'll do 1 video a month about street photography. Like I said, let me know down in the comments below. I'll be happy to hear from you. By the way, this past week, I released another video about the Canon M50, and this past week I got a lot of comments through the comments down below, and also I got a lot of direct messages through Instagram. So if you haven't already, feel free to add me to your Instagram and consider sending me a message, or I essentially created this YouTube channel so that I can meet more creative minds. So it's always a pleasure to talk with you. My YouTube channel is small enough right now that I'm accessible, and I'm always willing to help out people. As the YouTube channel grows and I get busier, I may not have this same opportunity, so I'm happy to share my time with you guys right now at this moment. Drop a like, comment down below. Let me know if you guys are liking this content. I really appreciate all of your comments, and man, some of the stuff that you guys have said have been just fantastic, and it just brings me a lot of joy that you guys are finding some of this content useful and helpful. Alright, that's gonna do it for me today, guys. Adios.